Hi everyone, welcome to week 5 of your pharmacy software course. This week we are going to be covering chapter 5, which is all about pricing tables. I want to touch on a couple of things. First, I want to remind you to make sure that you go through this chapter and complete the chapter and the exercises before you attempt this week's test. Because this week's test is not just a chapter test. So it's not just about chapter 5. It's about chapters 1 through 5. It is the midterm. So when you go through here and you get ready to prepare for this week's test, just know that you're not just doing this week's chapter in it. Okay, so it's really, really important that you prepare for this. Go back and review some of the tests that you took before and things like that. Now, this particular chapter is on what we call the pricing tables. And basically what we're looking at is all the different things that go into pricing medications or services in a pharmacy. And it's going to depend a lot on the type of pharmacy you're in. So whether or not you're talking about a small mom and pop type pharmacy, a corporate owned pharmacy, or even, in-house pharmacy for a facility. The pricing is going to be handled a little bit differently for each. So the first thing it's going to do is have you go to the price table button, which is over here on the left. And from here, you're going to start looking at all of the different things that you can enter, all the different formulas that are available, and they're going to walk you through all of this. What I really want you to pay attention to this week, though, is the information on page 60. This is where they talk about the different pricing structures and what those abbreviations mean and how those abbreviations are used in these formulas. So you'll see we have all these formulas down here. So what this section does is it talks about all these different things that make up these formulas. So you see these different abbreviations. AWP, AAC, etc. So what do these mean? Why are they there? What are they all about? So that's what I want you to make sure that you are looking over first. So AAC is the actual acquisition cost. Say that 3 times fast. So this is what the pharmacy actually paid to get the drug. So it's not going to be the same across the board. So that's something that you have to understand. And you have to understand, depending on where they get it, it might differ. One of the things that they mention in this definition is the source. So are they getting it directly from the manufacturer? Or are they getting it from the wholesaler? Which is kind of a little segue into the assignment. And I'm going to skip to that for just a second, and we'll go back to some of these other pricing pieces. If you go to exercise... let's see here. Oops, sorry, I flipped too many pages while I was talking. If you go to exercise 1 on page 62, it's going to have you go and look up some different wholesalers, and you're supposed to list at least 5. And then you're going to write a description of each. And so the idea here is to kind of get an idea of, what do these different wholesalers, distributors, who do they service? Does everybody service retail pharmacies? Do some of them service acute care facilities, things like that? So both exercises this week are going to be, again, typewritten in Word. There's no screenshots this week. So that's what I wanted to make sure, to point out to you in this one. So let's go back then to page 60. Number 2 is the average manufacturer price. And this is the price that the manufacturer receives from a wholesaler. So keep in mind that you don't always get everything directly from the manufacturer. So say I order a particular drug that's made by Pfizer. I'm not necessarily buying it directly from Pfizer. I might be going through McKesson and buying it from McKesson, and McKesson pays Pfizer to get that particular drug. So that's what they're talking about here. And then average sales price is for how much they're going to price it out as far as settlements go. Average wholesale price is probably the one you're going to see most often, and that's AWP. AWP is the national average of prices that are charged. So it's not quite the same as average manufacturer price. It's the average price charged to the wholesalers by the pharmacies. Charged by the wholesalers to the pharmacies, I should say. Sorry, I said that backwards. So it's what does the wholesaler normally charge the pharmacy? So again, we got the average manufacturer price, which is what does Pfizer usually charge McKesson, and then we've got what does McKesson charge pharmacy ABC, and that's what AWP is. Okay, and then some of these others are all about how much you're going to get reimbursed. So when we look at full and MAC, that and PBM, these have to do with reimbursement. So just because we pay a certain amount doesn't mean that that's what the insurance companies or Medicare or Medicaid, that's not necessarily what they're going to pay us. So that's what those are all about. And then we have WAC, and then they talk a little bit about wholesalers. So make sure that you review this list. Those are going to be very important this week as you prepare. And again, make sure you go back and look over the previous week's material. There will be 50 questions this week, which is different than your previous weeks. So make sure that you're prepared for that midterm exam. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Have a great week.